Hi, everybody. Today, I would like to speak about the dawn of JS for big data. Two other people already speak about data transformation and job scheduling before, so hopefully it doesn't spoil everything. My name is Pierre-Loïc Doulcet. You have my email if you want to ask me any question and send me a bad email. And I'm hacker in residence at AXA Tech Lab at EPFL. So big data is a big word. We heard a lot these days. Every company is doing big data. And basically, the main idea is more you have data, more you can extract value from it. So more and more companies are storing everything. And we end up with a huge mess of data. So to deal with it, we have to invent new tools because there is so much data that you can't compute them on your laptop, you can't compute them on a big servers, and you actually need a clusters of servers to compute the data and to extract something meaningful. So the definition of big data, I wrote it on Google. So everybody, it's a very big buzzword, big data. Everybody speaks of big data, but not everybody speaks about the same things. But globally, the idea is you have an extremely large data set, and you do stuff with it. So let's look how we do big data today in the corporate world first, from the bottom up. There is a very good initiative. I don't know if you are familiar with Open Compute from Facebook. That open source hardware to do big data and to do a server farm on the chip. So basically, you can, instead of buying $100,000 servers from HP or from IBM, you can just buy an Open Compute compatible server from whoever you want for $10,000 or something. So it lets you have a bigger cluster to handle bigger data. That has nothing to see with JS yet, but is really the bottom of the stack. So basically, it looks like that, the OPC rack. They are not standard rack where you put server. They are rack where you have a fork on the back, and the server directly gets the power from the two lines you don't see here on the back of the rack, and you can just put the alimentation on the top of the rack, and you can plug servers from HP, from any vendors, and it should work, hopefully. In top of the servers, we often put a file system. A distributed file system is actually more like an OS. And everybody, you will heard a lot about Hadoop today in the corporate world. And Hadoop have one of the best distributed file systems. So HDFS is very useful to store a lot of data. The idea is you have a file system, a unified file system across 1, 10, 1,000, 1,000,000 servers, and you can just query it some file to get your data. So it allows you to work with a huge quantity of data without running on problem of sharding, or you can't do RAID across so much servers or things like that. There is actually a very handy tool to read HDFS file in Node. It's named Node HDFS. Basically, all you do is you create a client, you create a new HDFS, and you put on your clusters on your port. And after, you can just do client.list to list file, .write to write a new file on the cluster, .read to read a file. And basically, all you have is like standard paths. But they are not stored inside the standard file system. They are stored somewhere on the HDFS of Hadoop. So yeah, one of the big points of big data is because we have so huge data, we don't store them into database. We don't store them into a log file, for example, plain text file. We store them in a lot of small files, often like one file per client or one file per log item. And after we just, in our job, we just run a query against that file to get the file back and to do some work on it. Yeah. So the idea is you have a lot of file and you run job. So it's like kind of factory. So you write on a job for a file, for example, that add +1 to a data. And when you want to run it across a terabyte of data, you will just write a small script that get a file, add 1, save the file back, and you will run this script across multiple workers on multiple servers. This is the idea behind something. I'm going very fast. This is the idea behind something named MapReduce. Maybe you already heard of it? Yeah, before. The idea is we have a lot of data. We just want the result of the computation. And we just map the job across a lot of servers. And after, we just use some process to get the result and reduce the result. It's similar, but it's not what you have in browser JavaScript. I don't know if you are familiar with array map and array reduce. That will run a function across a full array map, or that will return the sum of all the return function across a full array, reduce. This one in the browser, so it's very similar, but this doesn't run on a cluster, where it's a totally different approach you have to take. So the convenient way to write job today is Spark. Who already heard about Spark here? Okay. So it's a Scala project that lets you schedule job and run job on the cluster. And the point of Spark is you write down your job in Scala or in Java, and not in C++ or Hadoop script, I forget the name. That is the old way to write down job, and that is really horrible. Actually, it has a very great ML algorithm support. So built in inside Spark, you have library to do k-neighbors, clustering, all the things data scientists love to do. Data scientists love it. So for every data scientist that switch to Spark, they don't want to go back to HDFS scripting languages. And it uses 100% of server power compared to the Hadoop Task Manager. Spark was originally wrote to use as much as possible out of every node. So your manager is very happy because you can show him a beautiful graph that shows that the $1 million cluster you buy is running at 100% most of the time, and not at 10%. So what about JS in Spark? We are all JavaScript developers here. To run Spark in JS, you have to use something called Rhino. Yeah. So basically, it's a JavaScript interpreter, an old one, that runs on Java. Spark runs on the JVM. So the idea is you put Rhino on the JVM. And it's really, I will not advise it actually today. If you run your job on Rhino, you add so much override to your jobs that you just take 10 or 100 more time than what you will take just running a Scala job. So JS is not really Hadoop friendly today, and it's a shame because Hadoop is why every big company have buy, and is why every big player are using. And we should really maybe develop a tool to address that. This will come later. Another way to run jobs is to not use Hadoop. So I get 100% spoiled on my demo by a previous lightning talk. So some guys here, thanks to him, wrote something named JS Spark. The idea of JS Spark is that it takes a part of the Spark functionality without the MLlib, and it lets you schedule jobs on a cluster easily. So if you use JS Spark plus Node HDFS, you can obtain a result that is pretty similar to what you can obtain just running Hadoop, the Hadoop Spark standard stack. So I will refer you to the demo he did just before, or ask him question about JS Spark because he's way better than me on that. Yep, I lose my mouse. Sorry, I have to. Voilà. So the idea of JS Spark is you get JS Spark, and you can just map, reduce stuff, and you can map, reduce, or create a job and run it across a cluster. And you can just run cluster node instance, just doing npm install in all your servers, and it will basically work good enough. Yeah, but it's not enough because you miss the ML lib implementation. You should do it definitively. So how can JS really help the big data effort today? Actually, where JS is very good for big data, I found out, is in data preparation. Because you have this huge mold of data that is often unstructured, typically you will have an enterprise ESB that will, for a bank, for example, that will log every action happening on every server, and they will store it in a data store, and you will have petabytes of data. But when you want to know, are the customer going more often to bank when it's raining or some question like that, your data are never ready to answer that question. And 90% of the job of the data scientist is to assess the data. What data do really I have? And to do that, they have to go through the mold ball. For example, maybe the data they want are inside Oracle database log format. And in one of the fields, there is an XML type. And inside the XML, somewhere, there is a JSON that contains the data they want. And it's actually 80% of the job as a data scientist today is to write jobs, or to write scripts, actually, that they will throw out, and that are just scripts that are here to parse the data, trying to find the interesting data, and trying to put it on a CSV or something that look nice, they can use with R. If you already try to parse data with R, you will see it's really not good for that. Yeah, and the motto of today being go catch them all. Like the more data you have, the better it is. It's being a bigger and bigger issue. When you work with data that are 10-year-old or 20-year-old, at this time storage was very expensive, and we tend to just store the important data, often in database or some form of structured way. Today, with Mongo, with all the NoSQL and everything, we tend to log everything on unstructured files. And because the manager read on l'informaticien.com that big data is what he should do to get erased, he will ask the developers to just log everything. Like a client loads a favicon.eco image, log it. A client is this log it. Apache logs, don't waste it. We can save them. It can be useful for later. And you just have this huge mold of data, one again. And it's something that JS is very good at. JS is very good at string manipulation. JS is quite good at handling untyped data. This is all the point, actually. You have data that have no types. So you have like a blob of data. And developing a small script in Node to parse files on your clusters, like to, for example, to take this famous XML file inside a JSON inside a XML again, it's very fast, and it just takes you maybe where it will take you 1 hour to write a job in Scala, it will take you 10 minutes in JavaScript, because you don't have to care about catching all corner case, and you don't have to design specific data structure to catch it. I will refer to LearnJS data if you want to look how you can interpret data, and I have some example. So this is an example of a throwaway script I do for a public data set that we release. We release a huge data set that contains anonymized data set that contains crash recorders or driver recorders data from AXA. So basically, we have for 3,000 people, every second, their GPS coordinates, but anonymized compared to a new. We anonymize the data, so you can't know exactly where they are, but you can know where they are compared to when they begin to drive. So we have this huge data set. So it wasn't easily exploitable for the data scientists, and we have to extract it. So we extract it, and I just write down a script using 2 hours, so it's very ugly, like you can see. It does the jobs, and after a couple of hours, the data were here in a CSV file, ready to be used by everybody. And actually, okay, I should be ashamed of this script. I'm not really. It's good that you can't read it because it's wide and too small. Actually, what you do, you just use FS or HDFS. You read files. You use regex a lot. You use a substring. Sometimes it's faster than running a like string.indexOf.substring is often faster than just running a regex. And you just write down code you are ashamed of, but that works, that do the job, and you throw it out or comment it out in the end. And I found it to be really a time saver when you are working with big data, because, okay, it's not something you are proud of doing, but it's something that really saves time to data scientists that will take it will take them 1 week to develop something in R to do the same things. Because these guys are not developers, and these guys use R. So the idea of data preparation is to use melt data, some JS, and extract it to some form of CSV or files that are structured for the users. There is some tools we need to build if we want to push JavaScript further into the big data community. First, we need a good job schedulers. So we have JS Spark, but it's a good start, but it don't use enough of the server power today compared to Spark, and is slower than Spark on some benchmark. Yeah, I can share with you. The issue being that when you run it on the 100 server or something like that, Spark is very good at doing the allocation. If not all the nodes are not similar, Spark is very good at finding which node can handle more job than which other node. And this is something difficult to code, but we should do it. And we really need to start working on better machine learning algorithms. Today, we have a very good implementation of dbScan, K-mean, K-neighbors, but we are far away. We don't have a good solution for Bayesian filters, for example, that is performant enough in JavaScript. And we have a lot of ML. Okay, we should have a good ML-lib, actually, in JavaScript, so we can start really promote it as a tool for data scientists to write down their script. And I think once they will test JavaScript, they will never want to go back, because there still is like a lot of issue today in Scala. It's really verbose, and you have a lot of learning to do. Once again, it's not computer science guys, it's data scientists. Their job is not to write down code, their job is to use algorithms. So it's just the beginning of JavaScript and big data with JavaScript, but it's getting better and better every month, and we will get there, hopefully with your help. Thank you.